Yo, what is going on, everybody? Isaac Mashman here, founder of Mashman Ventures, and in this video, I'm going to be covering what I specialize in. What is it that I do? Now, this is something that I could arguably say I should have done a long time ago, and I just didn't because I didn't see the need. Now, fast forward, things are starting to move, things are starting to scale, getting more and more attention with the personal brand, with the company brand, building a team. I think it's pretty important, and so I'm going to be talking about my specialization. What do I do? What do I do for my clients? What do I do behind the scenes with my podcast and with other avenues of content creation? Why you should be following me? A whole variety of things, and this video is going to be a little bit longer. It might be the size or the length of a normal podcast episode, in between 10 and 25 minutes. I'm going to do my best to keep it entertaining and to keep you engaged by my voice. I'm not moving around. I'm not doing all that because I don't want you to really be focusing on the things that are going on around me, but rather the things that I'm saying and really paying attention to know, hey, if maybe we're a good fit to work together, if you know anybody who might be a good referral. I just launched the referral program for Mashman Ventures out on the company channel, talking about the incentives there, so make sure to go check that out. But let's dive right in. So if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I launched Mashman Ventures, which is my first ever company, on April 17th, 2020. Now, I launched it right in the middle of the pandemic. I launched it without even knowing what I was going to be building, what exact services I would be offering, but I knew that I needed to incorporate and light that fire underneath my butt. And the truth be told, as soon as I got that binder that had all the paperwork, I'm like, wow, this vision is starting to build. I don't know what it's building to. At the end of the day, I had a good understanding that I want to live a great lifestyle. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to do what I want when I want. The whole reason why a lot of us are working and going and grinding as hard as we are, because we want that freedom. Now, that's a very surface level response. It definitely goes down deeper than that. Being able to help family, being able to help friends, being able to contribute to the success and the growth of other people. But I really wasn't that self-aware at the time. I was in California, lost and confused all the way across the country, dealing with stuff that was going on at home, and I was stuck with pretty much strangers and friends right when this pandemic started, away from my grandparents, and it was a crazy story, and I'm not going to get into the personal side. If you want me to talk about that, let me know, drop that in the comments section, reply to this, because I would be open and interested in sharing that if you guys want to learn more about my backstory, and what I was going through, and what was going through my head when I went to launch this company. And so fast forward, in October, it took me about 6 months to finally define my company. And between September, October, November, that's when I started to get clarification over what I was defining my company as. I was offering personal branding services, helping people build out their personal brand through a done-for-you service model. We no longer do done-for-you work. It is a different business model, which I'll cover here in a couple of minutes. But I defined it as a public relations firm, and prior to that, I was marketing myself and branding the company as a multi-purpose company. And I'm like, looking back, I laugh, I shrug, and I cringe, all in that order, because I'm like, what? Was this like a multi-use paper towel? Like, multi-use paper towels, like Bounty, like, it just wasn't a good look. And I was holding back my success. I was hurting my success. I was hurting my brand. And so I knew that just like I had to commit to getting my LLC and getting the company incorporated, going from that jump from a sole proprietor to an actual business owner with the paperwork, I knew that I needed to commit to a business model. And part of the reason why I didn't do that is I was fearful of keeping myself trapped. I was fearful of putting myself into a box and not being able to scale. And that's why I wanted to do all these different things, until I recognized that if I was to focus on this one business model, then in the future I'm going to be able to have the freedom to go out and expand into all these other business models as well. So I got super focused, and around that time I had a lot of different events happen in my personal life that were the first of many. Like, they were the first big things. I'm a young guy, like I'm 20 years old, about to be 21, and that's kind of crazy to think, and I'm extremely grateful for the experiences I've been able to have. But I was going through experiencing life, got into a long-term relationship, and then I started getting really focused with my personal brand and company brand around the beginning of 2021. Landed an international client through Clubhouse who was in Austria, worked with him, and I started to transition out of that done-for-you business model, and then I started doing a training business model. And part of the reason why I stopped doing that is there were confidentiality issues. There were the whole idea that I'm doing this for you, which means that you do not have the blueprint nor the know-how to duplicate what I did for you or what the company was able to do for you. And so in the future you make a change to your brand, it's going to look god awful. It's going to look horrible. It's not going to look good at all. It's not a good look. And so stepped away from that, and then I got out of my comfort zone into the business model of training. And now I'm not a coach. I'm not somebody who's going to coach you on success. I think coach is more so teaching principles. Coaching is giving you the mindset, attitude, and that is important. But that isn't what I want to define Mashman Ventures as. It's not what I want to be referred to. I'm not your coach. The company is not a coaching agency. It's a public relations firm. And so if we were to do anything that starts with a C, it is consulting. We are not coaching you on anything. And so landed that client, landed some of the largest clients of my career in the past 4 years of being involved with business, from the time I graduated in 2018, or going a step back, a year prior, to when I was just getting started with entrepreneurship and knew what that title meant. Playing around with the clothing line, playing around with drop shipping, got involved with network marketing, and it's been a crazy past couple of years. And if you want insight into that, go back and listen to some of my older episodes of Chase the Vision with Isaac Mashman, the podcast, because the podcast is where I share my experiences, I share my knowledge, I share the things that I have learned over the past couple of years that have contributed to my growth. And by no means, I'm not some guy driving a Rolls Royce just yet. I'm not flying private. I'm not flying first. Like I'm going to be sticking with commercial for a little bit while. Even if I get to the point where I can fly first, it's not going to be a normal thing, because I know that I can reinvest that money back into the business to scale to be able to fly private. I'm not here wanting to show you every single time I fly private in the future. I want to be able to fly and not be able to flex that on social media, because it's a lifestyle thing. It's a normal thing for me and for my close circle and for my family and friends. And so anyways, going back to the beginning of 2021, worked with a couple of new clients, started to put out a little bit more content online, not so much in the video side of things. I did publish a couple of different videos on my YouTube channel, grew that a little bit, not anything too crazy, but then I started getting into press mentions and articles, and I started understanding the public relations industry as a whole, not from a standpoint of I'm buying my way into these press releases, because that really isn't what we're about. I am entirely against that business model. We are not a public relations firm that will get you into Yahoo Finance. We are not here to mass produce a press release and send it out to 200, Del Marca, Nebraska, Fox 34, and say that you've been featured in Fox News. I despise that, and there are a lot of people in our industry, especially on social media, that say, get in the news for less than $2 a source. We're not your guys. I'm not going to do that for you, and if you ask me to do it, I'm going to respectfully decline. But what I will do is teach you how to get into the press naturally and have people come to you for articles and interviews and podcast shows. So anyways, got into a couple of new articles, started really gathering more testimonials. We're up to over 24 video testimonials on the company channel. We have nearly 24 written reviews on the company listing, and really just taking those active steps to becoming more and more like a real business owner. And then around March, I thought to myself, Isaac, I'm kind of at an invisible wall. I'm acting as a sole proprietor. I have people in my network who I can make referrals to, but I'm not really building a company brand, because the company brand was still entirely associated and attached to my personal brand, which was intentional, but I also understood the power of developing a team, and that was one of the aspects of network marketing that I truly and really deeply had an appreciation for, the entire company culture, the organization culture. And so I started building out the Mashman Ventures team and bringing on people as active independent contractors working for Mashman Ventures. And the reason I say independent contractors is because these people are not full-time, but they are devoted to the company, they're devoted to the vision, and they are actively operating underneath the umbrella. Now, we can get into the complexity of having somebody referred to as an employee or as an independent contractor, but in an act of transparency, I'm going to say that they are acting as independent contractors, and by the time 2022 rolls around, based off of prior performance, we're going to be talking about bringing them on as employees with benefits and payroll and all that other stuff. But for where I was at with the company, being resourceful, being creative with the business model, thinking outside of the box, and seeing the benefit of having the company built up and having these people come aboard, they're able to leverage my credibility, the company's credibility, and the credibility of other people on the team, which means that we are able to scale together, grow together, and build out a really strong referral-based business, which means we make more money, they make more money, the clients get better results, and the impact is that much larger. It's bigger than ourselves. And so we have a full-scale media agency on the back end, from people who are doing web design services to content creation to video creation to the head of podcasting. We have a producer on the team, or he's more so an audio engineer who has produced for Billboard charting albums, not produced but engineered, making the songs, making the music sound really good, bringing the craft together to make it sound top tier and help it get to the top of the charts. And so to me, that's even more important than the actual artist on the beat, because you can have an artist with a lot of talent and a beat and production that sounds horrible, and that talent isn't going to make up for the lack of professionalism and the lack of true refinery. And so anyways, we brought on people for the media agency, bringing on marketing representatives to where we have the aspect of network marketing, not the pyramid structure, but we do have the ability to have marketing reps making commission, going out and telling their best friend and telling the people in their own networks about what we have going on and compensating them accordingly. And so I could go and talk more and more about that, but you could go to some of the older videos on my channel and the company channel announcing that we have a team, announcing that we brought people on board, building out company structures on theorg.com and building out a whole bunch of other platforms and more of a company brand and less of a brand that is attached to my own directly. And so that is helping the company's credibility, helping my credibility, and helping the credibility of the people who are associated with us. And actually, as of today, I was doing a training call with Eric Chow, who I've known for the past couple of years, brought him on board as the chief consultant who is able to handle the smaller calls that I am no longer able to take as I focus on some of the larger clients that we're working with and some of the higher tier people. But you're probably thinking to yourself, Isaac, that sounds really, really great, man. I love what you got going on, but you're still not talking about what you have going on. And I'm sorry that it's taken 11 minutes to finally get to the meat and the bread, but I needed to lay down the foundation so you knew some of the experiences and some of the things that I went through. We help people build out personal brands, right? Our goal is to work with somebody who wants to be followed, in demand, and respected to build an unrivaled personal brand. That is our marketing message. So we are working with entertainers, entrepreneurs, business people, podcast hosts, athletes, models, actresses and actors, people who have the idea of influence, people who want to be perceived more as a celebrity. Now, over the past couple of years, I've built out my personal brand myself with no paid advertisements. I like to joke and say that I spent, $10 in an ad account in 2018, and that was playing the Facebook lottery. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasted money. Here, Facebook, take my money. But aside from that, I haven't paid for any press. Any press that I've been mentioned in, I have not paid for. It has been done on behalf of other people who I've either done services for and they opened up their Rolodex of connections, or it was a press release that I was able to get for free because of making genuine relationships and services rendered, right? Showing interest in what other people have going on. And so I'm very proud with what I've been able to do with my personal brand, taking it from having no search results on Google back when I first got started in 2017 to developing my own personal brand, growing it up to an audience of nearly 50,000 people without paying my way, without buying fake followers, without clouding up and faking my reputation, and with sheer brute effort, work, and conversations. A lot of different conversations and a lot of different experiences. Now, I've been able to get a knowledge panel for myself without hitting the Forbes list, without being featured in Yahoo Finance. I've also been able to generate a knowledge panel for our company within the first 6 months of being incorporated. That is a huge accomplishment. Now, I'm not saying any of this to brag. I'm not saying any of this to impress you, but I am saying all of these different things to impress upon you what we are able to accomplish and why you would consider working with us, or why somebody else who maybe is entirely out of your network would also consider choosing Mashman Ventures as their personal branding consultant, their PR firm, the person who is going to help build out their personal brands. And so it is not a done for you service model. We do training and strategy calls. So what that would look like is we would sit down on a call with the client and get an understanding for who they are. What are they trying to accomplish? Are you trying to hit the billboard? Are you trying to be a TikTok comedian? Are you trying to be an influencer, the next Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, as an actor, as a guy in the WWE, as somebody who is unique? People follow people for who they are and not for what they do, and that's the number one thing I always enforce with anybody we work with, because there's this entire trend of people connecting more so on what they do and knowing you for the career and less of the actual personality, the thing that really makes you unique. That is what people connect to, and that is what creates longevity. And so we sit down and we look at their brands. we determine what are the next steps for actually developing their personal brand, for establishing their credibility. What are their marketing messages? What are their profiles going to look like? Is there a specific color? And it's not the basics just when it comes to logo and colors, but we go deeper and talk about, what are we going to talk about from your life? What content you should be posting, how you should post, what platforms you should be on, what should your handles look like? Should you get a website? Should you get an email? And we answer all of our clients' highest value problems. We solve those problems with real solutions that maximize results and minimize expenses outside of working with us. Teaching them how they can get onto podcast interviews to establish credibility. How do you even start a podcast? And if they want to do a podcast, we have somebody in-house we can go ahead and send them to handle the podcast production, intro, and outro. And I can even sit down with them and teach them on how to launch a show as well, because I've been in the podcasting world since 2018. And so that's a very quick glimpse. And so what that would look like is we would book a discovery call with a prospect. We'd collect a basic amount of information, their prospective budget, a little bit about them, however intensive they want to be on the questionnaire. We send them through a Calendly link. It's super straightforward, super simple. They get the reminder. They hop on a Zoom call. I handle the discovery call, unless it's somebody from our sales team, which we have a fantastic couple of people in place that handle that. Then I'm going to really get a feel and determine if we can work with them or not, right? What do their personal brands look like? Are there things and parts that they are not happy with? Are their numbers declining? Are they only building an audience on one platform? Is that something that they should continue doing, or should they maybe cross promote? What is cross promotion? And it really varies, and the information and the depth of our calls vary based off of how much information that person knows or doesn't know, right? You don't come out of the womb knowing how to speak. You don't know your numbers. You don't know your ABCs. And so when it comes to our clients, there is no right or wrong answers. There is no answer that's too small or too big. We're going to sit down and answer them all. And what that typically looks like is 4 separate sessions. We have 3 different packages. I'm not here to sell you, but I am here to be honest. So the first call, it's one consultation with either me or Eric Chow, the chief consultant, or there are 4 calls, which breaks it down very simple, right? We start with the mindset, the education, we go into branding, we go into building credibility, and then we go into marketing. And I'm not here to sell you guys. Don't click off this video thinking that this is the only thing that I'm going to be talking about, but I need to go ahead and let some of you know, because over the past couple of months, I've had people on Facebook be like, Isaac, I've been following you for years now, and I don't know what you do. And here's the message to you. 1, I make it very, very clear if you take the time to read my Facebook, if you take the time to read my Instagram, or listen to a couple of podcast episodes. Now, I understand if you don't take the time to do that, but just know before you comment on my post saying you don't know what I do, it would probably behoove you to read my profiles and at least take 30 seconds out of your time to read a description that breaks down that I explicitly say I help create unrivaled personal brands, and then talking about my podcast. And the company page, I break it even into more detail, saying who we're looking for and what we provide. And so I really wanted to launch this video and to record this to get into the nitty-gritty details for anybody who might come across my page, both old and new. I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for the support. Everybody on the team is grateful for your continued support as well. We've been making some massive moves, and we're also paying attention to the people who are supporting us and helping us get there, including prospects, clients, people who have no interest in working with us but just supporting us from the sidelines. Thank you. We appreciate you, and your support is not unseen. And so anyways, we also have a year-long package where I'm going to sit down and work with you all year. This isn't some course. This isn't some ebook that you buy and you get a very basic, information. Most of our calls, if we do 1 call, it typically lasts 2 hours. If we do 4 calls, each call typically lasts 2 hours, and we have a set itinerary for what we need to cover. I have an entire list of things that we need to get done, and then I'm going to give you homework to build out your personal brand. I'm here to give you the blueprint, teach you, train you, walk with you, and hold your hand every step of the way so you know how to build out your personal brand. Because if I do it for you and just get you into some articles, that is not going to do anything for your longevity and for your long-term credibility. And so that also covers marketing, branding, search engine optimization, taking up search results, making sure that you're, taking over the search results. If another person also has your name, should you use your same name? Should you change your name? And it really varies based off a client, and I don't want to micro niche down. We have a niche audience to a degree of like, we're looking for people who are building their personal brands, but I don't want to get specific to any specific industry, and nobody on our team does either, because that puts us in a box, and what's the fun? I've been able to generate some really awesome results with people from industries that I never even anticipated working in, such as the personal training and modeling business. One of our clients, Logan Mandeville, there is a Q&A video testimonial on the company channel. Within the first month of being in business and the first 2.5 weeks of doing sales calls, he's already made twice the investment back that he made into Mashman Ventures and into me as an individual of trust working with us, right? And we've been able to completely change his public image from being a model to being a celebrity, to being somebody who is much more than just the photos that he takes. And there are testimonials that you can watch and review that really verify our work and what I'm talking about. And so, that's a very quick summary of what we have going on. If you're, any ounce of interested in wanting to know more of what we can do to work with you, hit me up, send me a message. But this video is not done. There's more. There are more to, life. There's more to life, or more to the past couple of years that I do want to cover, just to get a couple of other things out of the way and let you know some of the awesome things that have happened. And so, aside from bringing on the team, getting clear with the business model, working with more results, I've also taken on a couple of different roles as a contributing writer to an awesome journal called grayjournal.net. It's for entrepreneurship. It's relatively small, but I see a ton of potential in it, and I will be contributing and talking about topics there. Mashman Ventures made it on as #9 branding company in the month of June on Design Rush's press release. That press release was sent out to Yahoo Finance, Money Yahoo, or Yahoo Money rather, Benzinga, Times Union, and a lot of other platforms. Guess what? We did not pay for that. I did not pay for that. I sent some emails back and forth, and bam, I made it happen. I made it happen. I'm not going to say that I paid $1,000 for a mention. That's not how we roll. That's not how we operate. I need you to go ahead and understand that is why we are different. Then aside from that, the company has also launched Unrivaled Results with Mashman Ventures, a company-specific podcast that we are going to be using to interview people who are a part of the team, past clients, and doing Q&A episodes going and talking about specific subjects. Then my own podcast, Chase the Vision with Isaac Mashman, that has been seeing some success. The numbers are literally at an all-time high. I've had the opportunity to interview Matt Devine, head of music partnerships for Cameo, and he was a world touring act, literally all around the world. I've been able to interview Kenny Herzog of Entrepreneur Magazine and a lot of other awesome people, including Zachary Babcock, who is, the literal example of somebody who's turned his life around, a complete 180, because he was an ex-con, he got out of prison, he's built a 6-figure business within the past couple of years, and he's rubbing elbows with everybody we study, like Andy Frisella, Brad Lee, and Grant Cardone. That's one crazy example that the American dream is not dead, and that you can honestly do whatever you want in life if you make the decision. And so the podcast is going great, and I have some awesome guests that I'm looking to get on very soon, doing new episodes every Monday, monologues, and then doing interviews every single Friday. And so awesome stuff. I'm doing more content, trying to really provide you value and also show you more aspects of my life. What does the day in the life of Isaac Mashman look like? I have some very ambitious goals over the next couple of years, and the only way that I'm going to be able to accomplish any of that and ultimately help the people around me and help you guys who are following me is through having your continued support. I'm going to go, and we're going to continue scaling no matter what, and that is why I really wanted to record this now and get it out of the way so we can look back in the past couple of years and you can say, man, Isaac, you did everything you accomplished, because over the past couple of years, I have done a lot of the things that I said I was going to do, and I still have some that I'm going to be accomplishing later this year. And so outside of that, content across all platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, some other startup companies, social media networks that I see a little bit of potential in. I see some potential in really making some wise decisions, and the future looks very bright in the sense of investments, potential properties, getting some shares into some smaller startups, really stepping into this role as a businessman, as a business owner, as an investor, as a speaker, doing some speaking engagements, got listed on a couple of different bureaus, and have a call this upcoming week with another bureau that I could go out and talk to, a talent agency. No contracts. I'm not over here signing the dotted line, but I am here presenting myself as somebody who is of authority, and I have some awesome interviews that are coming out I'm doing a lot of this to ultimately show you that it is possible to get to a level of success from the ground up. I do not come from money. If you've listened to my podcast or listened to any of my interviews, I always talk about how I remember waking up 6 o'clock in the morning with my grandmother, it's more like 5, to take my grandfather to the carpentry shop where he built cabinets for practically my entire childhood until he had to stop because of health issues. My mom worked obnoxious shifts. Like, nobody in my family has ever made over $50,000 in a year, and I'm over here working, hustling, doing whatever I can to make sure that I'm taking that title of the first person to hit 6 figures. I've already taken the title of the first person to travel over the pond, right? Go over to Europe, and man, I am not stopping, because at the end of the day, I'm doing this to live up to my potential and to show you that it is also possible to live up to your potential and to maintain control over the aspects of your life that you never had growing up. We never had control over what clothes we wear. I had to wear hand-me-down shoes and hand-me-down polos and stuff like that, that whenever I went to school, I felt horrible because I saw these kids wearing $200 pairs of Jordans that were worth more than my entire wardrobe at the time. Once you put that into perspective, you're like, man, that's unbelievable. And so super excited to share these different pieces of information with you and talk about what I have going on. And I also want you to let me know what I can do to provide value. I'm going to be talking about personal branding and my life and lifestyle, and talking about business and sharing my experiences and knowledge. That's what I'm doing this for, and also giving you some of that goofy side of me, maybe getting on some podcasts with influencers rather than business people, because I'm more than just somebody who's a businessman. I like to laugh. I love video games. I don't play video games nearly as much as I would like. I actually had to delete all of them off my computer because it was detracting from my focus. But I'm somebody who loves music. I'm very big into the music industry. I took a step out because I decided that wasn't the business I wanted to be involved with, but I enjoy finding new music. If you're an artist, hit me up, let me know. I will listen to your music and give you my God honest opinion. I'm not just somebody who is talking about what I have going on, but I want to actually give you insight into who I am, and that's the #1 thing that will be my focus moving forward over the next couple of years, and bringing you all along for this journey. Because if you're on Facebook, if you're on any of these platforms, you've probably seen a lot of what I've seen. You've seen people who are marketing themselves as these 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs, and that's all they're talking about. They're not talking about their families. They're not talking about their life. They're not talking about anything. They're flashing the Lambos. They're flashing the trucks. They're flashing the things that are great. The affluence of life and the affluence or the ability to be affluent and to have wealth is phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. I want that Rolls Royce. I'm getting that Rolls Royce in the next couple of years. I'm living, in the Porsche Design Tower in Miami, Florida. Like, I have that up on my vision board that's hanging above my toilet. Like, I am psychotic and obsessed with my success. However, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to lose focus on why I am doing this. There's less emphasis on the solutions and the real reason why you get involved with business than there is on the glitz and glamour. And both are important. And they should be treated as equals. They should be treated with respect. But that respect has been lost and jumbled up and jumbled. So anyways, guys, I'm going to shut up. Thank you for tuning in for this video. It's approaching the 30-minute mark. And if you have any questions, if you want to work with me, if you just want to talk and have a conversation and see what opportunities arise to maybe send referrals to both one another's ways, or if you're listening to a podcast, or you're a podcast aficionado, if you want to call it, check out Chase the Vision with Isaac Mashman. All of the links will be in the description. And all I can say is stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, because I have more content on YouTube coming your way, more value. But I do need you to let me know what you want to see, because I'm going to be putting out content regardless, and I want to be making sure that I'm addressing some of your most, asked questions, the things that you need help with. I'm here to help, I'm here to serve, I'm here to share my experiences and knowledge. And so much love, and cheers to massive success moving forward.